Have you ever wondered if building your business as an entrepreneur brick by brick is the right way to do it? And have you ever wondered if sacrificing your sense of alignment, your authenticity, fearing and doing it anyway, taking uninspired action, and also sacrificing the very things you are doing this for, your family time, your personal time, your health potentially, like it used to be the case for me, and the very thing that you are doing this for, your freedom. No, it's not. And there are reasons why not. And I would like to invite you to, instead of thinking, how can I do more things, to think, how can I do more powerful things? Because you see, this whole grind mentality, this whole build brick by brick mindset is more likely to break you than to get you to the place where you want to get. And there are reasons. And so in this episode, I'll be diving into two major overarching reasons that are causing entrepreneurs, that are causing you to grind, and very often without even realizing it. And this is the From Grind to Grace show. It's the show for the alternative entrepreneur, the entrepreneur who is ready to flip the script and choose freedom first. When freedom is not a destination, when freedom is the path. When you stop grinding from freedom and start creating your business that feels like freedom in the process, success just tags along. And that's when you know, I have made it. So my mission is to contribute to making this the standard in this industry, the default. And I'm inviting you on the journey for yourself, for your children, and for humanity. Because you know what? You're not here to grind for freedom. You are here to create for freedom. And so now let's go back to the topic and let's play. So over the years of studying entrepreneurship, of studying strategies and methods and frameworks and mindset, of doing countless programs, I discovered very interesting things, something that I didn't know in the very beginning. And I was living an illusion, I think, so to speak, because of, I don't know, you could be blaming this on various programs, on various coaches. But the thing is, I think the problem here is bigger than that. I think all our society is like that. So as I mentioned at the beginning, there are two major reasons that I uncovered that prevent people, entrepreneurs, you from getting where you want and make you feel smaller or small instead of powerful, when you deep down actually know you are powerful. And also making you sacrifice so much to the point that so many entrepreneurs never make it. And it's so sad. So you might know about the principle be, do, have. So that means in order to have the thing, you need to do the thing. In order to do the thing, you need to be the person who can do the thing. And it all sounds good. However, that piece where we are talking about doing and the other piece where we talk about being is not exactly what is widely taught in this industry. So let's get to the doing first. And as somebody who always, I joke to myself, make jokes like, I've been always lazy. And what I mean by that is I've been always looking to improve things, to make things more efficient, to do things in a more productive, efficient way, to shrink complex processes into smaller steps. And what I was known for when I was in 9 to 5 as a business analyst in IT. But I didn't realize that at that point somehow. I don't know. Throughout my entrepreneurship journey, I realized these things about myself, which is funny. However, somewhere deep down, I was always striving for more efficient ways to build my business, to get clients, to teach others. And so what I found out eventually, and when I did find out, it was like, oh my God, I knew it. This is it. I was right. Somewhere inside of me, something was telling me that there was a more efficient way to build my business and to teach others, especially when it comes to marketing and selling. So when I ran into the quantum leap concept, I was so excited. And as part of that, what I also learned was that most of the strategies taught to entrepreneurs are not meant for wealth creation. They are not on the wealth creation level, the things that most people are doing. The things that most people are doing is a bit like running in the sand. Have you ever tried to run in the sand? You are working very, very hard, but you are getting where you want to get very, very slowly. And very often you get exhausted before you get where you want to get. So that's kind of methods most entrepreneurs are using. And I'm not blaming them because our industry is saturated with that kind of stuff. And I don't know why, but maybe because it's much easier to teach. Maybe it's much easier in a way to perceive and to maybe, I don't know, get started like today, post on Facebook, do a reel, whatever else. I don't know. I've only done like 2-3 reels ever. I don't have an account on TikTok. I've never been on TikTok ever. Like if there is a video, something, shared on Facebook that I click and it goes to TikTok, It asks me to log in, and that's the end for me. I won't. I honestly, I could say I don't have time for that, but really I have no interest for that because I know it's not about the tactics. I don't really care about chasing every tool in the world. It's impossible to start with. Anyway, so that was a side note. But what I'm talking about is that so many strategies and tactics are not designed for creating real unlimited wealth. And so you need to use a lot of them. And so you need to use them frequently and consistently and build that momentum and do it every day. And then you beat yourself. Have you ever beaten yourself over taking a break? Oh my God, I used to skip weekends. I used to work during family events. I used to work in the car. We'd go visit some family and I'd have laptop on my lap. And I used to work and grind everywhere. The other day I was talking to somebody who lives in Tenerife, and it brought so many memories to me. I remembered how I think my daughter was turning 3. We traveled to Tenerife and I was bringing my laptop with me and I was sitting in the car in the evenings because internet reception was the best there. And I was grinding for a couple of hours when my family were chilling in the house, and I was almost proud about it. It's crazy. Anyway, so back to those strategies: wealth creation versus, I don't know, grinding strategies where you feel like you are doing things, but you're not really getting very far and not getting there fast at all. And it's exhausting. So I was thinking, okay, so what does make wealth creation strategies? And what I realized was it's leverage. And leverage is, as you can imagine, something that you do with less effort and you get way more done. But then I was asking, okay, so what? So I understand that in physics, but what does it look like in your business building, in how you sell things? And what I realized was that it has to do with making an impact. And you might be familiar with the concept of value, and you've been probably told, give value, give value, give value, 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 value. But I am telling you that the way value is perceived is usually off. A lot of people, when they think about giving value, they think about giving people information and giving people sort of like tangible things like steps. Here are 5 tips for you to do XYZ. Here are 3 steps for you to get from here to there or to whatever. Here is your calendar, content calendar for the whole year, and so on and so forth. Well, that's not exactly what creates impact. Just imagine and maybe project how you feel about the whole thing and what really resonates with you, and project that onto your own clients. What people really, really need is internal shifts. Just about anyone has an imposter syndrome, just about anyone, doubts themselves, is insecure, unsure, feels misaligned, feels scared, and all sorts of internal things, demons going on, right? Your clients are just like you. And so what people are craving for the most is those internal shifts that help them become the person who can do the thing, become the person who can walk through this life with grace and sense of freedom and being able to breathe freely. However, so much of that concept of values perceived as just dumping that information to the left, to the right, hoping that somebody is gonna hook on it, resonate, follow you, get on your list for more steps, more information. No, no. Those, people, all people are craving internal improvements. And it's been like that when you think about it. It's been like that forever. Now, when I think about, how do I think about methods and strategies now, which ones are worth looking into and which ones are not? I look at how long this thing has existed for. And what I want to do, what I want to see is has this been around like for hundreds of years? And hopefully thousands of years. If it has, what does that tell me? It tells me it's important. It tells me it's timeless. It tells me it's been working to change people's lives and give them transformation. It also tells me that I don't have to chase what's working now. I only need to understand what has been working like forever. Now, when you think about that, right, from that point of view, don't you feel liberated? What's working now is endless. There's always something new. But the reality is what's working now has something behind it that makes it work. So why would you not get interested in what is the thing that makes what's working now work? And there are only a few things. It has to do a lot with human psychology, yes. It has to do a lot with the physics, the principles, and the principles are something that works for all people in all places at all times. And it has to do with something that kind of holds all this together. And so a lot of the tactics, a lot of the strategies that most people are using in this industry have to do with these very temporary things, like implementing little bits and pieces and implementing a lot of them, and then systems, operations, and things like that highly depend on things like software. but software changes. And then you find yourself learning another piece of software. Or they are highly dependent on algorithms that are third-party algorithms. They're not nature. Nothing that the human has created is a fact. So they keep changing, they keep changing, they keep readjusting to new information, to new knowledge about how people work, to new development in the industry. And so you need to tweak your stuff all the time. Recently, people have been complaining that Facebook posts are not getting any reach. They used to get a lot of reach, and they're not getting any reach now. People are going, I don't know, watching YouTube videos or something about how to make those posts work and what the hell has changed in the Facebook algorithm. So that's what I'm saying. Instead of chasing what's working now, maybe think about what has been working forever. And what has been working forever is, first of all, creation. But when by creation, I don't mean creation in terms of writing a post on Facebook. I mean creation of impactful ideas and solutions about looking what's behind people's struggles and creating solutions for that. And the other thing that has been around forever is communication. And I know now people will say, I'm communicating with my audience all the time. Well, that's great. But a lot of people look at communication from the point of view of getting exposure, but not from the point of view of creating an impact. So your communication is impactful. Communication has little to do with giving them steps 1, 2, 3. But has a lot to do, the success of your communication has a lot to do with giving people a transformation. And on top of that, live communication is even better. The reason why, you might ask, you might guess. It's because it's live. It's because it's interactive. It's because it has more dimensions than written word. Like, have you ever thought why public speaking is so valuable? Well, because when it's done right, it communicates a powerful idea in a powerful way. So when you get into those kind of things, then you see that you have to do way less and you get way better rewards in many ways. It's very rewarding to be truly useful. I'm not even talking about the so-called tangible business results like revenues and number of clients and so on. It's very rewarding to be useful. It's very crushing to be unuseful. Like, we have this innate need as humans to make meaning out of anything we do. And that meaning comes partially through our contribution. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And that's why I've been saying to my clients, I want your business for you to feel like you're on a mission. Because if you don't, that means you don't have the sense of contribution to the world and to humanity. And that's why it feels hard. Your solutions are off. and your communication is off, not as powerful as it could be, even though deep down, everyone, I bet you too, feel that you have so much to say and you have so much power. And you might be longing that connection between how you are doing things right now and how you know you could be doing things. So, weak methods and strategies that fall below the wealth creation level is one of the reasons why you grind. The other piece of the puzzle is the B part. Now, as an entrepreneur, you might have done a lot of personal development. I did. I was like, oh my God. It was, and it is. It's a big piece in this whole journey. And, at some point I realized that it's the bigger piece. It's like 80%, So I've been doing all sorts of things like getting into the law of attraction and trying manifest things and, taking ownership of my life and my business, or so I thought. That's the whole other episode, I think. But I'm going to explain now why I made that comment now. You see, a lot of personal development in this industry has to do with very surface level identity shifts. Have you ever tried to manifest for a stretch of time and felt sort of like icky? It felt off. You didn't feel you were connecting to whatever you were trying to manifest and tell yourself, and it kind of felt more like trying to convince yourself rather than making a real difference in your life or how you do things. And on top of that, you might have beaten yourself up quite a bit. It's not working. It's working for someone else, but not for me. And so the analogy that I like to use about how most of the personal development industry is, it's like gluing wings on a caterpillar and expecting it to start flying from flower to flower right in this moment. Well, that's not really how it works. And in fact, there is a reason why you have been feeling icky or off or blaming yourself for your manifestations not working, is because in this industry, they overlook the underlying layer of who you are. And that's why I say it's not about becoming, really. It's about remembering who you are. And the reason why is because we are full of all sorts of programming on the subconscious level. And what really struck me at some point was when I discovered through my studies that by manifesting something, I can actually cause more harm than make it useful. And the reason is because for my subconsciousness, for my body, whatever I'm telling myself I want in my future is unfamiliar. And because it's unfamiliar, my body, my subconsciousness is signaling it's unsafe. It's unsafe. Don't go there. Danger. And then you get that internal conflict, which makes you feel really bad about everything and yourself, which prevents you from making the right choices and decisions, which then affects how you do everything. Not only do you not become the person who can do the thing, but that energy, that survival energy seeps into everything you do, into your actions, into your words, into your content, in how you show up, into everything, into your offers. So, and I forgot to mention this for the part 1 about the strategies, wealth creation level strategies, that offers are not on that level. Well, offers, that's where you put your solutions, that's how you package your solutions. And so most offers and most messaging, marketing messaging, is not designed to create impact. And so you can do a lot with the right frameworks, right? But now back to part 2 is everything. There is another layer. There's another layer, and that other layer is energy, is your energy. And your energy is something that comes from how you feel about yourself and what vibration you put into your offers, your messaging, your marketing, how you sell. Have you ever seen somebody who has started on their journey and they just took off in no time and without seamless, like without any effort? Like it looks like it's so easy for them. It's because they're on a mission. It's because they don't really care that much about strategy. So while strategies are important and they can get you quite far, if you don't put the right energy in what you're doing, everything falls sideways anyway. And what does that mean? That means you have to grind more to make up for those shortages. It's as simple as that. I call it the Bloom block loop. The Bloom block loop. It's when you are trying to shine, it's when you are trying to bloom, but some invisible forces are closing the petals and blocking the fragrance. And you stay in that loop for as long as, well, a lot of people quit. Some people get out of that loop by realizing these kind of things. And energy is a big, big, big piece. So what do you do? What do you do in terms of becoming the person who can do the thing? Well, it's super important to work on your subconscious beliefs, on that subconscious programming. And that subconscious programming comes from your childhood, comes from your family when you were growing, comes from the society overall, comes from education. And there are layers upon layers upon layers. There are so many layers you're not even aware of. And for me, for myself, that's like, this is a big piece of my journey right now. And here is the deal in general, as an overarching topic for this podcast and for this episode. The society has been good to tell us that you don't, you have to work, you have to educate yourself, and you have to work hard for freedom. This morning I woke up and I was thinking, oh my God, well, freedom is actually your birthright. Freedom is your birthright. Who can tell you to grind for freedom? That's bullshit. When you're a baby or when you're a 5-year-old, who can tell you ever you can't be free? That would be bizarre. That would be, I don't know. At what point of your life did anyone decide for you that you cannot be free unless you achieve X, Y, Z? Well, that's why I'm flipping the script, and that's why I'm on this journey. Now, the moment I realized these things, I stepped into this beautiful world of freedom. And the big overarching point here is that you cannot grind for freedom. When we say freedom, we only talk about these other things like financial, we put labels on what freedom is, like financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom, but that internal sense of freedom, you cannot buy it. And yet in our industry, and I remember that I forgot what I was doing this for. I remember when I started on my journey, I got into coaching programs, and as part of those programs, I had to set goals. I know that the reason why I got on this journey was because I wanted freedom. But then I was told to set goals, actual financial goals, get to the detail. And I remember having ridiculous things on the list. And I remember I was having a lot of things that I was manufacturing my goals really just to fit into that coaching program and the expectations of it and my coaches. But the reality was that I was made to forget that I was in this for freedom. And so the point is, freedom is your birthright. And grinding for freedom doesn't work. You can't earn freedom. You can't. You already have it. And the solution is to create from freedom. You can step into the sense of freedom right now. And that's what happened for me. For a number of months, I didn't feel I was grinding. I was just doing things that that aligned with a sense of freedom. And when I started doing it, things started unpacking very, very fast. Like even this podcast. I didn't even have to decide to do this podcast. I didn't have to debate with myself. I didn't have to tell myself maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, I need to get this thing first and I need this intro. I do not have a format for this podcast. Who told you ever? Like, I know a lot of people, and I talk to, I ask some of my guests, say, how do you have an editor for your podcast? Do you know someone good that I could borrow? I don't have an editor. I don't edit these episodes, not yet. I go the path of the least resistance, the path that gets me to do what I need to do the fastest, the easiest way, and the way that makes me feel the most free. But most importantly, who said that podcasts necessarily need to be polished necessarily? Who said that there definitely needs to be intros, outros, inserts of some sort, some sort of music or whatever, other than what makes you feel good? Who said? Somebody came up with that. Somebody copied, then it spread, then it became so-called common sense or common ground. But who said it definitely needs to be that way? I found myself, right? So because I'm very logical normally, and I was drowning in these strategies, well, in this strategy mindset without knowing it for a long time, I know myself as soon as I start, I have an idea what I wanted to say, what I want to speak about. And then my logical mind says, oh, you need to start with this hook, you need to do this, you need to some sort of framework, you want to say this and you want to say that. And I find that usually it puts me in the place where I'm like, I get stuck at some point. Oh, so what do I need to say next? What's the, like, what do I know? In what order? What are the steps and so on and so forth? It gets so hard and it gets off and it loses the energy that is required to actually do it the way that creates an impact and feels like a play for me. So energy, if you don't put the right energy into, doesn't matter what kind of strategies you have. I found the strategies that I told you about as part one, impact making strategies, wealth creation strategies, quite a while ago. It didn't matter that much. I love them. I still love them. They're great. They're here to stay. But until I realized that I didn't just need surface level shifts. I needed to unpack who I really was and start working on my subconscious programming and dialing into the sense of mission and really start playing and approaching things from the place of play rather than grind. Until then, it still felt really, really hard. Right? So hope you get the point. Hope this was useful and I hope this made you reevaluate the way you do things. And this made you to sort of like become curious about how differently you could approach what you're doing. Because not only is it easier, more fun, but also brings much nicer, much juicier rewards. So with that, my friend, ending this episode. If you enjoyed it, if you think this is something worth spreading, please follow, share with others, and come back for more. Because I'll be diving into these topics a lot. And also reach out. I'll put some links in the show notes. Reach out if you would like to chat about what's possible, about the impact-driven strategies, and about how to actually be the person who can pull them with ease. Go ahead and reach out. Let's chat about it. Now, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here, for spending time with me. I really appreciate you. I really want to see shifts in your business and your life. And I'll chat to you again soon. Thank you.